Okay, so we're going to go through some more examples on this because it is something that you will have a bit of difficulty with without doing the practice. So again, we're writing an algebraic expression. This first one says how many times R goes into T. So if you're having trouble, just put some numbers in place of the letters. So if I said to you, how many times does 5 go into 50? You would say 50 divided by 5. It goes in 10 times, right? So we're going to do that in that order. So where the 50 was, we have a T. So we're going to do T divided by R. Now remember, when we do divisions, I told you to write it as a fraction because that will give you the simplest answer and you'll get it right. Okay, the next one says 1/3, which we will write as 1/3, 1/3, of the product, we know that means times G and H. So if we just sort of start at the end here, it might be easier. So the product of G and H is G times H. Or, if you simplify it, GH. And we want 1/3 of that. So we want to do 1/3 of that. So we just put the 3rd in front of it. So if you're doing 1/3 of the product of G and H, you'll end up with that answer. Or, the other correct answer will be GH/3. Because getting 1/3 of something is the same as dividing it by 3. Okay, so both of those would be right, depending on how you want to write it. Alright, the next one says, think of a number, and they're telling you that this number is going to be T this time. So we have T. We want to multiply it by 3. So we'll do this as we're going. So we've got T, we're going to multiply it by 3. Then we're going to add 5. Now if we write this simpler, we're going to take this bit and write it with the number first and leaving the times out. That'll be 3T plus 5. And that's your answer. The next one, think of a number. This time they've told you the number's going to be W. We're going to subtract 4. And then we're going to multiply it by 7. Now, if you write that down, you're going to be wrong. So we have to be careful with this one. So when it says think of a number, subtract 4, that bit there's done. Then we want to get the answer to that and multiply it by 7. So because of order of operations, we need to put this in a bracket because we're telling them we want this bit done first. Alright? If you don't put that in a bracket, it's going to say, well, you want the times done first, and that's not what you wanted to happen. You wanted to subtract this first and then get the answer and then times by 7. So that we fix the order of operations up, we have to put that in a bracket. So to write this one down simply, we have to do this times 7 bit at the beginning. So we're going to put down our W minus 4, but the times 7 is going to be written at the front. And we're going to leave the times out so we can write it in its simplest way. Okay, so just be very careful with order of operations. That question is hard, and that's the reason why it's hard. Okay, so there'll be a lot of you writing in the test W minus 4 times 7, and it'll be wrong. So be very careful with it. Okay, the next one, they're asking you to write these in words. So that we've been given an algebraic expression, we're going to change this into words. So there's lots of right answers that you could write. So I'm just going to write this as the sum, because I can see we're adding, of B and 5. Okay, you could say the total of B and 5, anything that means you're adding. You could say increase B by 5. There's lots of right answers. Okay, the next one here is 4 take away 3B. So if we look at this last bit here, we can see that this is two things being multiplied together. So that bit there would be the product of 3 and B. Now, somehow we've got to get across the idea that we want to do 4 take away that. So if you think about it, we could use the word difference. We could say subtract. In fact, with the word difference, you might muck it up. So we might be better to say subtract the product of 3 and B, which is that bit, from 4. Okay? All right, this next one up here, it says 5 plus B over 4. So we can see we've got a sum, we can see we've got a quotient, so, or we could use the word divided by if we wanted to. So we might say the sum of 5 and this bit here, the result of B divided by 4. Could use the word quotient, but I've just decided to do it differently here. So I've got the sum of 5 and the result of B divided by 4. That means that we're actually working out the B divided by 4 bit first, getting the result of that, and then summing it with the 5. Okay, the next one. If Sylvia is 16 years old, write her age K years ago. So K years ago is in the past. So she was younger then. So what we're doing is taking her 16 years and we're taking off K years. That's how old she would have been. So you can imagine if we said if Sylvia is 16 years old, write her age 4 years ago, you would do 16 take away 4. So we're doing 16 take away K. All right, the next one. Write an algebraic expression for each of these. So we have the number of metres in H kilometres. So we're trying to find the number of metres here. Now to go from kilometres to metres, we're going to a smaller unit. So we're going to times by 1,000 per kilo. Okay, so we have H times 1,000. Or if we simplify it and leave the times out, write the number first, we have 1,000 H. And I would write metres on the end, not M, because it sort of gets confused with the actual expression. So you do need to know how to do conversions with your units when we're doing some of these. So up here we have the average of M, P, V and W. When you do an average, you add everything up and divide by the number of things that you have. So we're going to add these all up. And we're going to divide, or put a fraction bar, over 4. Because we have 4 things we're adding up. All right, the next one. The number of dollars in Y cents. The number of dollars. So we're going from cents to dollars. We're going to a bigger unit. So we divide by 100 because there's 100 cents in a dollar. So we start with the Y, divide by 100 and write it as a fraction. You can write dollars on the end because that's what we wanted to find, the number of dollars. Or if you wanted to, you could write the dollar sign in front, the way it normally gets written. Okay, D. This time we're finding the change. So you've gone to a shop, you've got so much money, you're buying something, you give them too much money and they give you change. So the change in dollars. That bit's important. We've got to make sure that we're in the right units. From $72 after buying W tickets at $12 each. So we have W tickets, $12 each, so we're doing W times 12. And that's how much we're spending. But we have $72, right? So we're going to have all of that is what we're spending. We're paying $72 and we're going to subtract what we should be spending, and that will be our change. So here you've just got to simplify that. Leave the times out and put the number first to 12W. And because these were both in dollars, we can happily write the dollar sign at the end, no problem. Or you can write dollars on the end. Just be careful if they want to give you a harder question here. They might have said to you that we're buying W tickets at 156 cents. In that case, you would have to make sure you change everything to dollars before you try and do this question. Okay, so we're going to come back in one more video just to finish off a few more questions, not many to go.